I'm Mike Peterson, and welcome to my podcast.
Hey team, Mike Peterson, welcome to my podcast. So listen, you always ask me, people are asking me all the time about why do I talk about attitude so much? There's a reason why. Attitude is the wind in the sail. It's very simple. You can have all the talent in the world, but do you believe? Do you have that mindset? And I constantly use the example of David. And I use the example of David for several reasons. One, when they were trying to make a decision who the king of Israel was going to be, they went to David and his brothers. And they went through these brothers who all look like football players, basketball players, studs, Adonises. And they said, he's the king, he's the king, he's the king. And God continued to say no until they went for David. Now, when they went for David, God was like, that's it. And can you imagine? You have all these tall 6'4", 6'5" guys, and they look like just beasts. And you got a shepherd boy here, right, who may be short and scrawny, look like he hasn't eaten in days. And God says, that's our next king, right? Why is that? Simple, guys. And God says it. He actually said it in the Bible. He says, man looks at the outside. I look at the heart, which is why I say to you, listen, I don't care what you look like. Don't doubt yourself. I don't care if you can only bench so many weights. I don't care if you know, what do they say, women? Oh, you're not very good at mathematics, right? Don't let someone limit you. You have to believe it in here. And if you understand that when God says he looks at the heart, he's looking at how honorable are you? How committed are you? How tenacious are you? How loving are you? How much are you willing to sacrifice and give? That's David. So don't look at the outside. We see it all the time in sports. We see coaches all the time, right? These coaches that want the players that can talk trash and, do whatever, act like tough guys, swear, whatever. Those have got to be the tough players, right? Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you, Tim Tebow would disagree with that. I say Nick Chubbs would disagree with that, right? Saquon Barkley would disagree with that. Those are guys that don't sing and dance and talk trash, and they just go out and play. And they realize in their humility how blessed they are to play that game. So if you're a coach, hey, man, you better be looking on the inside because you'll miss a lot of great talent. You'll miss legends because you keep looking at entertainment or someone that you think may have, and they may have great talent. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I've seen way too many coaches, too many leaders want the guy, whether it's in sales or football, they want the guy that they think is just a beast based on his talk or his walk. I want a beast based on their performance, based on their mindset. I want a beast that once they get a hold of something, they will not let it go until it's done. But that's David. David was a servant. Look, you want to be successful? Help other people. Help other people get to where they're at. Motivate other people. Encourage other people. You want to be successful? You want your team successful? Develop leaders. That's the key. And the only way they do it is they see that you're willing to do the one thing that most people are not willing to do. Serve. Serve. That's what David did. He started out serving. And then when he got, and now he sees that there's this battle going on. Well, it was supposed to be a battle, but you've got this giant talking about their God, and these men are too afraid to do something about it. And so they stood there. And what did they do when David said, hey, I'll fight him? They're like, no, David, you ain't fighting that dude. Are you serious? He's bigger. He's stronger. You're going to die. Stop talking and be quiet before you make him angry. And he comes over here and hurts us all. Hey, oftentimes people are going to want to give you their fear. They're going to want you to be afraid. And they want that partially because, mainly because they are, and some love that company, but mostly because their heart is in question. Their faith is in question. But see, you don't have that doubt. You have that faith. So what David did, David said, I got this. And when he said to King Solomon, hey, I've got this, the king said, David, you can't fight this. You can't win. Isn't that funny? How often do we hear that in our lives, right? Oh, you can't do this. Mike, you'll never graduate college, so you should go to a trade school. Funny, huh? Albert Einstein, You're not that bright. Isn't that interesting? Interesting how that works? Said, you can't do this. And I love what David said. David said, hey, king, as a shepherd, when a lion and a bear went after my sheep, I went after them and I killed them. David didn't say, when the lion came after me, I had to defend myself. David didn't say, when the bear was running my way and growling, I had to defend myself. No, what he said was, keeping that servant mode, when they went after my sheep, I chased them. I went after them, keeping control of him and his fear. I'm sure David had fear, but it was fearless, not fearful, right? So he says that to the king, and the king goes, okay, David, well, here's the deal. We're going to let you fight Goliath, but in order to do that, you got to wear my armor. And David puts the armor on, and it's too big, it's too much. Hey, team, listen, people are going to always try to tell y'all to put on their armor. They're going to tell you to do it their way. They're going to tell you you can't do it this way. They're going to doubt you. Let me tell you something. Let me make this very clear. This is the easiest part of this conversation to prove. You've heard me say it before. Your fingerprints, none before you, none after you, currently have your fingerprints. God created you for this very special moment. And no one can touch the world the way that you can because of those unique fingerprints. So when they tell you to put on their armor, you tell them, I got it. I got it. And then lastly, David stood up, took the weapon that he brought, not the spear, not the gun. Of course, there weren't guns back then. Not the arrow, just a slingshot. He didn't need any drama to it. He didn't need to flash it up. It's just so guys, the reason why I tell you this is because if you can adopt the attitude of David, if you can get yourself to have faith in God, faith in why you were created, and then take that faith and execute it and put it on the battlefield, you'll do great things. And yes, you'll get knocked down and there'll be moments of failure, but in the end, you will do great things. You will be the Thomas Edison, the 10,001 or whatever inventions, but you have to believe that. And I don't care whether you're 12 or 20 or 60, you have to believe that you can. And you have to believe that you can because you were created. And you have to believe that you can because you were created because you know your creator. If you can do that, what an amazing life you will have simply because you've lived a purposeful one. So keep swinging and keep knocking down giants. I'm Mike.